Hi, you're watching SportsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra, and of course, we begin by talking about tennis today. The All India Tennis Association has sparked a row after it replaced veteran Indian tennis star Mahesh Bhupati as the captain of India for the Davis Cup match against Pakistan. The AITA has named Rohit Rajpal, former Indian player, as the non-playing captain. The decision has been taken after Bhupati refused to travel to Pakistan, citing security concerns. The match, which was to be played in Islamabad, has been shifted to a neutral venue after AITA wrote to the International Tennis Federation. Bhupati has reacted, saying that he believes he is still the captain since AITA has not contacted him since Monday. Rohan Bopanna too has expressed his surprise on the switchover, which comes before the Pakistan tie. In fact, Rohan Bopanna went on to Twitter and said that he was shocked and dismayed at the decision which was abruptly made by the All India Tennis Association. And we'll talk about that with our guest. Joining me in the studio is sports expert Ninad. Ninad, first of all, welcome. And in fact, we will also have Vishal Uppal, former tennis player, joining us on the program. But Ninad, starting with you, what do you make of, first of all, this confusion of, a captain refusing to travel to a certain country, citing security reasons? Isn't that something that should be taken up seriously and should in fact be a condemnable act, especially by a player of the stature of Mahesh Bhupati?
It's a bit of a double fault by both, really. There are three things here, I think, if you look at it closely. The first is the indiscipline, as you pointed out. The second is also a technicality that, he was on an extension as a as a president. So it is not as if he has been removed before his term ended. So technically he was on an extension. And lastly, I think what it does show is a dissonance between the administration and the non-playing captain. So the third thing is the most serious thing in my opinion, because it does affect morale after all going forward. So I think those are the things which need to be addressed, because without doing that it will be a sort of a stopgap, if you like.
All right. In fact, Vishal Uppal, former tennis player, also joins me on the broadcast. Vishal, thank you for speaking with us. Well, it's obvious, Vishal, there is a sense of dissonance between Mahesh Bhupati, Rohan Bopanna and the AITA. But imagine this, if I'm working in the army, if I'm serving in the army, and if I'm told to go and fight in Kashmir and I refuse on the basis of security, how does that reflect on me? How does that reflect on my passion towards serving the country? Isn't this an equivalent of exactly that situation?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, representing the country is the biggest honor any of us have had, and yeah, I think it's turned into quite an unnecessary controversy. From the outset, of course, players should have been ready to go and play wherever we were called up to play on. So I think, it just mushroomed into something very unnecessary for Indian tennis.
Right. In fact, the AITA has also responded, Vishal, by saying that the players have criticized the AITA for appointing a non-playing captain. The AITA can do whatever it wants after, they have heard a no from certain players to travel to Pakistan. And, most of these players started talking about playing for the Davis Cup tie after the venue was shifted to a neutral place.
Yes, absolutely. I think according to me, patriotism cannot be convenient. It cannot be selective. I think the players should have been ready to travel to Pakistan to play. At the same time, through good coordination with the AITA, the pressure could have been kept up on the International Tennis Federation to change the venue to a neutral venue. Of course, everybody's safety and security is very important, but just a little bit more coordinated effort could have ensured that we got what we wanted without creating this controversy.
Right. And Vishal, it's shocking that some of the names like Bopanna and Ramkumar Ramanathan, Sumit Nagal, Sasi Kumar Mukund, they all refused to go to Pakistan. Do you think action should be taken against them for refusing to go and play in Pakistan? Because, we just saw in cricket that the Sri Lankan team risked their life and went to Pakistan and played, in fact, defeated the Pakistani. And, that in a sense has changed the entire mood that, if you have to serve the country, there are more ways than one.
Vineet, I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't think anybody's really risking their life. They're not going to battle,
Exactly.
They're not going to war. We have to go there and be ambassadors for India on a tennis court and win on a tennis court. And I think, I'm pretty sure the Pakistan Tennis Federation and Pakistan government would have ensured the safety of the Indian team. Of course, after all, nobody wants a war. I'm pretty sure even the Pakistan government doesn't want a war. And even the slightest crash on any Indian player would have had much bigger ramifications. So I think, keeping that in mind, I don't think, I mean, it has to be left to the wisdom of the All India Tennis Association as to what action they want to take or not want to take. But I think a more coordinated effort or a coordinated dialogue between the AITA and the players will go a long way in ensuring, such controversies don't erupt.
Absolutely. And Ninad, Mahesh Bhupati went on to say that he never said no to doing national duty. But, these reports about them pulling out have been as old as 15 days. Why is he reacting today, or why is he reacting yesterday, after a non-playing captain was in fact appointed?
There are two things here. I personally think that, the whole idea of playing in the Islamic Republic is risky. We've seen what happened with the Sri Lankan team once.
Well, that was a long time ago, Ninad.
No, but
we also saw what happened with the Sri Lankan team. They beat them black and blue.
What I'm saying is something else.
Okay.
It is risky, but that does not mean that you have the right to pull out. I mean, there is something called the structure. There is something called call of duty.
Correct.
So maybe AITA should have probably insisted earlier on shifting the venue, but that is not the prerogative of the players. And I think that was wrong of the players to show their hands so brazenly and say, hey, we are not going to go. I think it sends the wrong signal all over the world. So I think this is a harsh action, but this was pretty welcome harsh action, if you ask me.
Right, absolutely. And Vishal, in fact, with Bopanna and Mahesh Bhupati not being a part of this fray, not being a part of this fold, this also in fact limits the AITA, with the number of people who are left to represent India for this time in terms of rankings.
No, Vineet, I think, I have a lot of faith in the depth of Indian tennis right now. And I think our team, whether it is a number 6 player, 7 player, 8 player, we are stronger and better than the Pakistan team. And under every circumstance, we should be beating Pakistan. I'm not worried on that front at all. I have a lot of faith in our boys, in our team. We have a good squad, good depth. And, frankly, beating Pakistan on tennis court is not what should be scaring us at all.
Right, Vishal. In fact, one last question before we let you go. There's always been this, trouble or controversy. And in fact, Mahesh Bhupati and Leander Pace, they themselves have been susceptible to a lot of controversy when it comes to AITA, certain decisions also, and certain, statements have been made in the past by both of them. How do you think, this can be sorted out? Because there seems to be, like Ninad also pointed out, dissonance when it comes to the senior players who are supposed to guide and lead the tennis fraternity into a brighter future and the governing body.
Well, like I said, people just have to sit across the table with each other and talk things through. I don't think there's any point in sending each other messages through the media, because that only escalates things. I think the best thing would be to just sit across the table, sort things out, so that you can take shrewder and smarter decisions, not only for Indian tennis, but in general also.
Right, Vishal, always a pleasure having you on the show. You're doing a great service to the nation and in fact to the game of tennis also. And thank you for your time. Appreciate you being with us on the show.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.